Yeah, I get it. Everybody? And we're muted. And then since the library, we're ready to go. Okay, thank you. So since the library board's on consent, if you didn't want to introduce or do any of that, or they just, because you could do that during city administrator.
Yeah.
Would that be fine? Okay, so I'll leave that to you then. Okay, we're good to go then, you said? All right, we'll call to order the city council meeting at 7:00. Let's see, and everyone please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Certainly. Mayor Oberlander. Mayor Protenberg McCreary.
Here.
Mr. Isaacson.
Here.
Mr. Schaefer.
Here.
Mr. Mercer.
Here.
Mr. Supple.
Here.
Mrs. Nevlin. Ms. Coppell.
Here. All right, we have a quorum, thank you. Are there any additions and corrections to the agenda tonight? If there are no objections, I'll add an excused absence for Councilmember Napland. Anything else? Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion to adopt the agenda tonight?
Sorry.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say no. All right, our agenda is adopted. And next up, we have comments from the audience. During the designated public commentary period within city council meetings, individuals are allotted a 3-minute speaking duration. All representatives of organizations may address the council for up to 5 minutes. Before presenting, kindly disclose your full name and city of residence. It is strongly advised by the city to submit verbal comments in writing form to expedite subsequent correspondence. Do I need to read the entire paragraph or just that first bit? Okay. All right, did we have anyone sign in wanting to comment?
No, we don't have anyone requesting to comment at
Okay.
this point.
All right, so I'll open it up if anyone in the audience wants to speak tonight. You can always approach the podium. No? All right, I'm not seeing any. So with that, we'll close the public comment time.
Wait, online.
What's that?
Online.
We are not doing online comments. All right, so let's see, there are some written reports, so make sure and take a look at those. And next up, we have our consent agenda. Does anyone want to make a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes. Next up, we have our scheduled items. The mayor is absent tonight, so we will skip that and go right to our city administrator's report.
Thank you. Good evening, council, members of the public, staff, Cynthia McNabb, city administrator. So before I get started on the slide deck, I would like to ask our new library board members, if you want to come up to the podium, introduce yourself. Let us thank you for your service and be willing to serve on our library board.
Hello, I'm Julia Rude. I'm a current library board member and excited to be here today with our 3, 2 in attendance, joining board members. And we have Sean and Molly, and I'll let them introduce ourselves. We also have Melise joining us. She's unfortunately not well today, so she is not here tonight. You want to just give a few?
Sure, yeah, I'm Sean Smith, Library Advisory Board, person, yeah, and lived in Duval probably about 40 years, grew up in the Valley, went to school at Toll High School and Cedar Crest. I work at Puget Sound Energy. I'm a energy analyst for the Northern Fleet for our generation fleet. So a lot of numbers and budget stuff, so I thought maybe some of the skills that I have in that would be able to help maybe some of the items for the library advisory, so.
Thank you, Sean.
I'm Molly Briggs. I go to Cedar Crest. I'm gonna be the youth member. And, I wanted to do the library board because like my grandparents and great grandparents were all on library board, so.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will turn to the slide deck. And first up is, next slide, community development.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Council and members of our audience. We have our historical February kind of performance numbers for permits. So last month we issued 37 permits. We did 262 inspections, so you can see we kind of track year over year or month over month. And so we're a little bit lower on the building permit issuance, but much higher on the inspections, and that would be normal because we issued a lot of permits last year. Next slide. This is just a little bit different way to look at it on the bar chart, and then the two photos on the right are recent inspections. So the one on the top is at 65 degrees. Those are attached single family units, and the one below is a detached single family unit. This is just a reminder, next week we have our Parks, Trails, and Open Space Plan open house, and that's on March 26th. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. It'll both be virtual and in person, so we're excited about that. And then officially today, our survey is going out to almost 4,000 units. So we're super excited. So we'll start to spread that news, and we will also give out QR codes to the different businesses so that people can take it wherever they're at in the community. And we'll also be pushing out to social media a couple of times. So it's open for just about a month. This is just kind of where we're at on maybe an every 2-week basis. We had a really nice meeting today with the Snoqualmie Tribe, and it was related to natural and cultural resources. Our next comp plan steering meeting is this week, which is tomorrow. Our open house is next Tuesday. We're preparing for our third meeting for the comp plan. Usually we are a couple ahead of preparing for a meeting that's a couple of weeks out. So everything for tomorrow was prepared over a week ago. So you can see that we're at meeting 3 or meeting 2. So we're just cooking along about every 2 to 3 weeks. We are having a meeting for both comp plan and for Parks, Trails, and Open Space. We did do a small contract amendment to include the capital facilities plan within our body of work on the comp plan. It didn't come to council because it's under that threshold. Even I got to sign it as a director, so it was under 7,500. But you will see that in a report, because as we have contract amendments quarterly, we'll be bringing forward a report that says if there are any small type contracts. Other policy work, we are just finished up the draft 2, and it's been reviewed by our former city attorney, Daniel, but Oscar is also in the know as well, so he'll be helping us review it moving forward. Permit processing policy update, we have the first draft under development. It is a lot of work, but it's pretty close to going to our development review team. So we expect to have that to them by the end of the week. We are just starting the preparation for our short-term rental presentation, which is set for April 16th.
And then I'll turn it over to Director Lanshevsky.
Good afternoon, good evening, council, the mayor today, citizens and guests. So brief update, 142nd phase 2 open house went very well last week. I think they had about 20 attendees over 2 hours. So they said great discussions were had, a lot of positive comment on the project as you'd expect. So that's good. The one item on the agenda, the PSC Up and Go program, it does not look like we will need an agreement, so I don't have anything else to share other than that. PSC Up and Go program folks are excited, and we'll work on getting that implemented as quickly as possible, so. Not that that's quick, we're a very nimble, small government, I think PSC is a little slower, no offense. But they're working on it, it's a new program for them too, so we're working on it. Our new sewer maintenance one tech started last Monday, so the treatment plant is fully staffed at the 4 total FTEs, and they're moving forward. Lots of things to fix as they're adding new parts to the treatment plants, and things are still breaking, dying, and needing to be worked on. So I think we resurrected. They haven't figured out the date of the pump. There was a pump in a well on site that was draining just groundwater around the Anox basin, so keep, hydrostatic pressure down and we drain the waterway. The pump was so old, it was like fused to some of its settings. It was so corroded, like hole corroded through it, and it was pumping up until, a couple months ago. So this thing we think it's almost 50 years old. So it was either likely part of the 92 remodel or part of the 74 original installation, so. They did find a replacement online that is in similar shape, but, yeah, lots of pumps around there. I attended the Snoqualmie Valley Outdoor Recreation Action Team meeting today. It was a presentation by King County Parks as they look towards their next 6-year, parks levy that is on the 2025 ballot, I believe. So they were feeling some things out for us as a group, and then obviously a lot of outreach would be going to the community at large in the entire county. Next slide. Office model remodeling is wrapping up. We are down to interior, waiting for some handrails to be fabricated above the second floor mezzanine. And exterior paint, generator pad, electrical connection to the transformer. I think parking lot ceiling and striping, weather pending. So we're really close. We'll probably look to repave most of the parking lot, at least around the main thoroughfare, once this project and then the big project is underway and completed. There's been a lot of activity, and most of the asphalt's pretty old anyway, so. We'll work on that probably next year. The fourth train was, I skipped one. I'll do fourth train real quick since I'm still on the tree plant. We pre-purchased the MBRs, the membrane bioreactor physical membranes, to the tune of like 834,000 a few years ago and 2 years ago. And they have been here and sealed. They have to sit in their liquid, and they've been in a box. And interestingly enough, they opened the box and get 2 of the 3 cartridges in it. So there is a 3rd cartridge coming next week. They are out of Canada once they are made and shipped and distributed worldwide. So that was a surprise to everyone since they were. What's that? US conversion. Yeah, maybe. It's the US conversion situation, yeah. So that was a not fun Monday, but everything is moving and progressing just fine. WashDOT reached out to us today. They are finally done, and I think maybe there's 2 people on the council who started this process. So the signals in town, traffic signals, we do not own, operate, or maintain. Those are WashDOT owned. We've been bugging them for the greater part of the decade to upgrade those signals. So when they go out or when they need editing or changing to the program, they have to physically come out here and do it. So the cabinets are so old that that's just the case. So we've been asking them to upgrade the cabinets. So they're upgrading the cabinets. They are fiber connecting those cabinets to each other. So ITS, Intelligent Transportation Systems, or traffic systems, whichever you prefer. And they're connecting it to the shoreline headquarters, so they can manipulate activities from their desks, like every other signal in the state of Washington. So that's great news. For example, like I had to have the tech come out last summer and he reprogrammed the signal for Duval days. Those, cost us whatever, $1,800 to have them do it. Now they just sit there and we'll get it done, from their shop. So that's great news. They're gonna be out in the next few months getting that work done. Emergency management. So Luke's been working hard on all kinds of things. A program that we've been trying to get done for years is just badging. So now that we have the new key codes to access City Hall, those are duplicated now into our badge also. And Luke has them all printed up. So that's Benny there, our engineering department assistant engineer. So the guys who work with a lot of the homeowners, they go on leak checks and on properties, like they're always feel awkward because they haven't had identification. So we have ID now. The Public Works group, we have new coats and some other gear, so they're more recognizable. trying to badge ourselves and make sure we're out there showing who we are and what we do, and that they feel comfortable talking to folks, and they don't believe that, who are you, what do you work for? Can I have a card, please? You know, we used to have, they carried on Joe's card and my card, so that's great. And if you get a chance, the website, I'm sure everybody heard, has been refurbished. It's very nice, and Luke's been working on the emergency management page, trying to get pertinent and relevant and current information to share there. So that was something we've been working on. Next slide. Sel was in a meeting this week. We met with King County Metro on some either new stops or coordinated stops, or changing the layover area so they can add some more pickup time in the 224 route. So we're gonna work with them on a right-of-way use permit to do a bus staging area in front of the dentist building, not the Starbucks building, but the one on Main Street. There's a parking stall there that is never used. So we're gonna work with them on that being the place. They come into town off of Linville Depot Road, they go to the roundabout on Third Avenue and Big Rock, and then they pause so the coach driver can get out, get a break between their, you know, start and stops if they're ahead of schedule and whatnot. So they'll start there, and, you know, we'll be working with them on adding some stations as we inform them of the development coming in the area. So it'll be a good meeting. So that they're gonna get on that pretty quick. It'll be signage. It won't take a whole lot of effort from them. And so that's good news for ridership. They have a lot of push to get more ridership on buses to rail. Now that's gonna be in Urban Town Center. So they're very upfront and cooperative and collaborative, so it's nice. Anything to add to that, so,
Yeah, just looking forward to it.
yeah. Internal recruitment was posted, so we'll be reviewing that for the crew leads. We have 2 crew leads currently. For the budget, we're going to 3. Storm and streets stay together, water becomes 1, and parks becomes 1. External recruitment, we're recruiting for another maintenance 1. So they are interviewing. I think we're down to 2 candidates. So just finished up today. And then just to let you know, operations switch on April 1st to 4/10. The Friday through Monday crew will be here on weekends working. Keep all the parks facilities up and running and tended to, because they get very busy. So I believe that is it. Any questions? Comments?
Councilmember Schiffern?
So the W dot upgrade of the traffic lights, do you think that'll do better for throughput of rush hour?
It can. We'll
Yeah,
see what happens,
okay.
but to be determined.
Yeah, I don't know how the detection aspect works, you know, where we detect the traffic and all that, but I would hope that that would help the congestion a bit on Main Street.
The plans came in today. I didn't check to see. I know there's video recall as well as in-ground loops. Most times the in-ground loops now are redundant backup if something goes wrong with the eye.
Okay.
So yes, they should coordinate, especially between Stevens and Virginia. Those 2 are close enough where one can affect the other on some throughput issues. So
Yeah, no, that's good news. I know you started these conversations a long time, so that's great.
painful.
Councilmember Capel?
Along those lines, does that mean we won't have to use the pickle so much when the ball is back there?
That may be the case. I won't commit to saying I hope so, but we hope so. Yeah.
Councilmember Isaacson?
Number 12, is that planned and normal, or is that increase in usage of those people, or that swap to 410s?
Oh, yeah, so seasonally, it's been, this will be, I think, the 3rd year we've done that. So 2 of the guys, I mean, we just end up getting either, you know, dirty bathroom calls over the weekend, we're out of supplies, the ball fields are pretty well packed up, so there's always a need. You know, certain amount of hours of use, you should be adding crumb rubber and keeping, you know, track of everything. So yeah, no, they're pretty busy. I think this year's balance is gonna be keeping tabs on the 2 and seeing if 2 is enough. And that's all we're starting with, even though we have a new FD coming forward. Yeah. And those guys like it, so it works out really well.
Quick one on the WashDOT. Can we expect any traffic impacts when they upgrade those, or do they pretty much, they don't need to shut down anything or mess with them, they just upgrade the boxes?
For now, I think it's pretty minimal.
Okay.
It looks like they've been out trying to proof that conduiting between, you know, Big Rock and here is in. looks like that's the case, so it's mostly underground pulling wire and fiber cable between all of the facilities and then connecting them to the new, you know, signal.
Okay.
But I haven't confirmed the plans all the way. They want to know what kind of permit, so I said, get a right of way permit and then we'll go over your stuff, but yeah. Thank you.
Next slide. So we have just a few updates, from my office. We are opening recruitments either later this week or next week for the deputy city clerk position, the part-time code enforcement officer, which will be a brand new position for, the city of Duval, and then our police administrative assistant position. So I don't know if you all know Courtney. She is our front desk person down at PD. She was promoted to records administrator. So we're opening her position, and we're very happy for Courtney that she's moving up into that new role. If you go to our website, we've created a how-to page for public comment. So there's now a website that shows how to do public comment with the interim rules that can be changed quickly, but trying to focus folks to that page and a how-to so that they can see all the rules around public comment easily. We're also going to create a fillable form for that page, that's in development, so that people who want to do public comment don't have to type in an email to the city clerk, but can do, you know, one of those fillable forms that we all see on the internet, like contact us. So hoping to make public comment easier for the community. And our new website upgrade has those new bells and whistles. It makes it a lot easier for us to do things like that. We're also, again, looking at each page. Oh, I forgot, we're also developing a small business page that will kind of be, how do I operate a small business with, again, you know, easy to get to information on small business support. We're looking at each of the pages on the website, so if you all have ideas on what you want the city council page to look like, please let me know. And we'll try to develop some different tools or bells and whistles for the city council page as well. And then today I met with a consultant on the workload analysis proposal that's been, I think, carried over for a number of years and is in this biennium on doing a workload staffing analysis for the city departments here. So I hope to get a proposal from that consultant by the end of the week with the goal of having that study done by September. So a pretty aggressive timeline. The benefit of being in a small city is they think they could finish the work by September in time to be considered for the budget. And that would be used for you all to make decisions on any staffing requests that the city makes as part of the next biennium budget. Next slide. So just continuing to update everyone on community events and what's happening here. Rita and I have been very busy putting together different events and meeting with folks. So Monroe YMCA is now confirmed for a summer camp this summer. They put out a survey to elicit a response on would people be interested in summer camp in Duval. They had 107 responses, 93 of them were yes. So we're expecting the max will be 45 students or campers this summer, and it'll be based out of the Depot building.
Sure.
So there'll be, they will still get some evening use out of the Depot building for other renters, but the YMCA camp will kind of be stationed in the Depot building for the summer with the idea of kind of roaming around, going to McCormick Park. But they're not reserving McCormick Park, they're gonna use it just like everybody else does, the library and some of our parks. We have set May 11th from noon to 4 for Pride in the Park. That will be the ribbon cutting and celebration event for Pride. So we're expecting the ribbon cutting to be at noon with an afternoon of vendors, performers, and artists down in Depot Park. And then finally, the new development from the Cultural Commission on May 13th here in the evening during the normal time of the Cultural Commission meeting, we are going to host a community open house and workshop to discuss a couple things. So in this room, will be soliciting community feedback on what to do with the 26 panels that are the first in Virginia. Well, we're calling it a mural, but there's lots of things we could do on that swath of potential public art. You can have metalwork, you can have mural, you can have graffiti. And so the Cultural Commission decided instead of them making the decision about what would go there, whether it's, one themed mural, whether it's multimedia, mixed media, that we would host an open house for the community to share what they would like to see at that location. There is $10,000 budgeted for that project. That 10,000 would probably only cover maybe 3 of the 26 panels if you were doing kind of a fully themed, sketched out, painted mural. So we want to get some ideas. We want to look at whether or not businesses want to sponsor different panels, so different ways of funding that project. It's a very big project. It's a very big space. So looking forward to some community feedback on that. They have developed a theme, which would be, at least tentatively, Duval Through the Ages. And so we'll go ahead and put different pieces of paper throughout and create big easel board ideas for the community to see and, decide whether they'd be interested in that. Probably in the room up there, we'll do a exercise on choosing a theme for the mini mart mural. Let the community give input on that mural space in front of the Duval Market. So on that, there hasn't really been a theme chosen. The other thing we might think of, because it's how it was done last time, is do we want student artists instead of professional artists for that? One of the things that we've been thinking about for the First in Virginia panel or mural is, do we do a whole day event of that? So there have been community murals where an artist is commissioned to go ahead and sketch it out and design it. And then we would shut down the road and have the community come paint it. That's one option. So we're looking at a bunch of different ways to have the community involved in that artwork. And then in the front room, we would like to solicit community feedback for the Cultural Commission biennial art plan. So if you recall from the public art policy, the Cultural Commission is to provide council for vote by a proposed biennial art plan that pairs with the budget. And so we will be asking the community for 25 and 26, what kinds of art projects would you like the Cultural Commission to work on for the next biennium? And I think that is it for now, but open to any questions on these topics or anything else.
Councilmember Isaacson?
The art made me think something, meaning to ask, the pillar in the river has base hardware on
Yes,
it. Does the city own that pillar?
I'm gonna turn that over to either Director Thomas or Director Lashevsky, because I think the answer is no.
No, I think the last person to paint it like it was is maybe Matt at the hardware store.
Yeah.
Had somebody do it, and it's been about 10 years.
Roger,
Yeah.
Roger Jones. and
Roger,
Matt.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did.
Oh, with Chamber, you think?
Yeah.
That would make
At
sense.
least, yeah.
And I don't know if we treat it as nobody owns it or anyone owns it, but it's in the high water, it's on the county side,
County.
right? It's that part of the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the county side technically. Technically, we own from the center of the river this way. But yeah,
Councilmember.
Those same lines, I know that the trolls were done a while ago by the husband of the, I can't remember his name, but, I know there's also a lot of sort of, vegetative growth under them, but they're also sort of peeling. Does that also fall into city right away, or again, because it's the bridge and it's into the county?
yeah, technically,
Property.
yeah, we own half of that bridge as well, so
Okay.
it's the center of the river. And those were installed, like you said, by, I would say, more of a city community person, not the county, so. I would certainly never say we're removing those trolls, cause I think people may go a little wild. But if we need to look into kind of cleaning up is, not that I don't leave town for my job for a lot. time, so I don't really look at them when I'm leaving town. When you're leaving town, you don't really see them when you're.
So when you're stuck in
Right,
traffic,
but
well,
yeah,
you're
it's
this
like
close,
there,
and
yeah.
then you're looking, but I just noticed, and obviously that's another, art installation that could either require some updating or maintenance.
Yeah.
And I should add, we've asked the cultural commission, so also part of the public art policy is that the cultural commission comes twice a year. Anticipating, obviously, September, October, one of those meetings with council will be when they present their proposed lighting art plan. But I've also asked for them to come in April to talk about some of the work that they've already done and some of the decisions that they've already made, including voting last on a concept for where to put the old planks. So we have the call for artists out for the new planks, but we have all of these existing old planks, and they've voted and decided where they would like to put the old planks. I won't say more because I have not discussed it with Director Lomashevsky. So it's more of a concept right now, but once we get it sketched out, we'll bring it out back to council as well.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you very much. Any council reports tonight? Councilman Isaacson.
No report, but a question that maybe I missed something you said. Did we skip written reports and perks? Or did you just?
I just noted that they were there.
No, they were there, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that, that's all.
Oh, yeah.
Cool, that's it.
Did you have one?
Kind of a report, kind of not, just one for Kurt Beardsley stopped in, this week, and he has a pride flag out front of Wild Fish, and it's been torn down twice. And he's, I told him to please let council or the city know, or the police department. He's like, I don't know what else I can do. But he really wants, to show that he's a welcoming business. And I think we might need to, it might be time to partner or talk to Bothell about how to set up the, safe space rights areas for businesses. And just to make it easier to have that safe space so people feel welcomed and secure.
Go ahead.
So we did look into, there is a safe space program.
Right.
And it is run by Seattle Police Department. There are a couple criteria that we need to meet in order to be eligible for their program. And I think some of the initial work we had gotten, hypothetically, 5 steps. I think we had gotten to step 4 of their criteria, and we just needed one more thing to do to be able to implement it and be part of their program. I will follow up to see where we are with that program, because it has its own decal and its own program that is supported by SPD.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Mercer.
And again, not a report per se, but just a reminder, I think the deadline to RSVP to the Snoqualmie Valley dinner is tomorrow, so if you're interested in attending, just a reminder to let them know.
Anyone else? Yeah, so, yes, that was a good reminder. The SPGA meeting is next Wednesday, March 27th at 7 p.m. I think the networking usually starts half an hour early. I think it's in Snoqualmie this time.
It is.
So I've RSVP'd, I'm going. If anyone else is going and wants to carpool, we can. They'll all be at a baseball game at Big Rock Ball Field, so we have to start from there. But, so let's see, Monday I met with Carnation and the Snoqualmie Tribe. This is the monthly coffee meetup that Snoqualmie Tribe has initiated with Carnation and Duval. And so last time it was Carnation, and this last Monday it was here. And just talked about all sorts of things, transit. The tribe has their big election coming up, and it was fascinating to hear how their elections are different than ours. Really interesting, like they'll have 19 people running for one position, no primary. It's just, I mean, it is just so cool to hear their process, and to talk about that. But also just, some common issues. They were talking about improvements in complete streets programs, and I was, reiterating that we had a similar program. So something the tribe was developing in Carnation, but Let's see, so those are recurring, those are monthly, so if you're ever interested in going, just let me know. I think it's the third Monday at 8:30 in the morning. I think they're just gonna keep popping in between Carnation and Duval, so just let me know and I'll forward you the invite. And then, oh yeah, I went down to the Northeast 142nd Phase 2 open house. It was awesome. They answered every single random curious question I had with enthusiasm. I was just blown away by their expertise and their knowledge. It was a great walk down from my house. My kids really appreciated the pie, so thank you. I mean, that was really how I got them to come along. So anyways, that's all I had. I just wanted to thank you for that great open house and a good reminder about SVGA. All right, so with that, oh, you had one, Councilmember Sutton.
Has there been any applications for, human services grants this year?
Yeah, so the last I saw were, in your email, trying to remember the date. We had gotten an email that you should be added to the, what's it called, the SharePoint site. And they should be all uploaded there now, right?
I believe there are.
Okay,
I believe they are, and I would say, our clerk is doing the human services grant, unless I checked with them, we had quite a few applications. Similarly, we had 5 applications, for the economic development and tourism grants.
so we'll want to, so it's you, myself, and Councilmember Kufelt, will want to get together in the next couple of weeks. I think we need to get together before the April 2nd meeting. Is that when we had it on the top of your head, or was it the 16th meeting?
Human services grants are gonna go to the April 16th meeting, and the economic development and tourism grants, assuming that we can get them scored and approved next week, will go on the April 2nd agenda.
So I can email and we can start setting up a time to get together. All right, Councilmember Isaacson?
Last thing, in the spirit of, remind Social City Council, I think, or for especially you, of the F1, I think, I'll forget about those, that really all the 15th of April, financial disclosure.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's coming quick for you.
All right, so that will move on to our first and only presentation. It's with Director Laniszewski, the discussion on PSC pool charging. So it sounded like you didn't have a whole lot extra, but I'll just turn it over to you.
Steve Laniszewski, Public Works, and yes, from the earlier summary, nothing new. Sounds like PSE does not need an agreement. They are their poles. I think they're just happy to know that we're happy to have their services in the right of ways. Anything comes forward more, we'll bring it forward to you guys, but that's really it.
Okay. All right, so with that, we'll move on to our first and only line of new business, which is a field and facilities rental policy, with City Administrator McNabb.
Yes, so one of the things that we had talked about last time is that we would continue to bring this policy forward to council, and that I would do check-ins, and also during those check-ins, update council on if we had had any feedback from our user groups. So far, we have not had any significant feedback or any feedback in the last week on different issues with that rental policy. So at this point, the request that I'm making to council is if you have any final thoughts or anything else that you would like to see, please let me know. My hope will be to finalize that policy and get it on the next consent agenda, unless there are things that you want changed, and I'll put it on the next agenda for review and consideration. We'll continue to do outreach with our user groups. One thing I would say is with all of our policies, just because it's implemented a certain way, if it doesn't work, you can always change it. You can always seek edits, additions, and we'll be in contact with our user groups and obviously with Public Works to see what's working, what's not working. We will be bringing to council, I believe on the April 2nd meeting, a new fee schedule. Is we have a couple things as we are looking at the field and facility policy that we realize we don't have. So one of which is with approval from the city, a fee for summer camps. If you want to run a summer camp in the city, we have no way to, so we've received requests to waive that fee, but we can't waive a fee that doesn't exist. So we have to establish a fee and then we can consider waivers. Likewise, we don't have a fee for tournaments at Big Rock. We also don't have a fee for weekly rentals or monthly rentals of our facilities. We have hourly, we have day. But we don't have, say, the YMCA, if they wanted to rent the depot for a week, we don't have any way to charge that fee. So I'll also be bringing an amended fee schedule to you all for approval, so we can get those fees in place, so then potentially, if council agrees, we can waive those fees in order to bring folks into the city for programming. So other than that, that's kind of where we're at with the field and facility policy. So this is just a touch-in with council to see if there are anything else that you would like me to consider and bring this forward.
Councilmember Mercer?
So more of a comment and then just a high level question. So I appreciate the changes you did make since last time. I saw you adjusted the order, some of the precedents and you've made some other tweaks. It looks good. So I think we're pretty close unless there's more feedback. I was curious, just not specific to this document, but we've gone through a couple of these policy doc updates. If you maintain an internal change log, I know there's no change log on the last page of the policy to indicate when it's been updated, but I was just gonna ask from a sort of a records perspective, do we maintain that internally? So,
I do.
okay.
Likewise, if you see, particularly on the public records one where it goes through a fairly significant legal review, you see at the bottom that Ogden Murphy also stamps it. So they do their own version control as well.
Yeah, looks good.
Councilmember Isaacson?
Yeah, from the last review we did, I can't remember exactly where like the Riverview School District fell. Does this have that change in there? The reason why I ask is because it doesn't have any. We had said that we wanted to add a qualifier to it. It said something along the lines of as long as the facilities were not available at the school. And so that's not in here. Did that?
So I must have misunderstood. So yes, the movement of it was there. We had talked about whether we wanted that language in there, or if that was just something that Public Works would have a conversation with the school district. So maybe I didn't hear that we actually wanted that language included, but if we did, it's easy fix, happy to include it.
Is that something you're proposing that you'd like in there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's following that, I thought that's where we ended the meeting was, yes, I remember the conversation that they standard practice would, but I thought we agreed as council that we wanted something in there that kind of highlighted so that it wasn't on staff's shoulders to have to do that. It was kind of in policy where they could at least say, hey, you know, I don't know, that's what I thought, because I wouldn't want to put them in that position
Okay.
without saying it. That's what I thought. So, what were the rest of council, if I recall correctly?
I don't remember exactly where, yeah, I was thinking, maybe there was, yeah. I think I was thinking what Cynthia, city administrator said about that it was like on staff, but I agree. I mean, I think it's an easy add and then it kind of takes that pressure off the staff. I mean, the other council members fine with the word being added to clarify that.
Yeah, I think it would be beneficial to have it sort of generic language, because I think the thing that was called out is it's sort of, there's not way to check, and even if it was a language around like overflow, pending overflow, or something that's not a really, you know,
Yeah.
because I don't think we have any way to validate whether they prioritize it, but at least it calls it.
Yeah, okay. Sounds like we're good on that item. Other thoughts, questions?
Oh,
Good, Councilmember
yeah,
Schaefer?
something, I apologize, I know you said this. When do you think we'll, vote on this?
So next meeting, I'll bring the policy back with that change. And then I'll also bring the new fee schedule that will have some of the items that relate to this policy at the next council meeting.
Okay, good, thank you.
I think my only question is, at this point, are we thinking a full year so that you're through all the different sports to get, you know, what's the process for internal evaluation of it? How are things going? Is it like after each season, you might send them an email and ask for feedback, or how did, you know, or something like that? Or I'm just saying, when can we expect to hear an update? Would probably realistically be a year when you've cycled through all the sports, maybe to say, this is what works good, this is what didn't work so great, and maybe we need to change it or not.
Yeah, so and I'll have Director Lanishevsky, even though, so to back up a little bit, just a reminder, because there's been some community chatter on this. This policy was authored from my office with support from Rita. Director Leshevsky is so involved in field and facility management that we really wanted to make sure that he also wasn't drafting this policy and going through the changes. So with that said, I would imagine that over the course of a whole sports cycle, Director Leshevsky will probably get feedback about what's working and what's not. So I would expect by October when, well, maybe November, when football cycles out, we would have a good understanding of what was working and what was, but I'll turn it over to Director Leshevsky.
I would say if you don't hear it from me, you will probably hear it from the user groups if it isn't working as we had hoped. And I don't know that I would commit to a year about not touching it, because if I have something glaringly wrong in it, we
Oh, yeah.
you know, fix it, so.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering if there was a guess, 6 months, a year, but it sounds like it just kind of depends.
There's cycles in it, right? So,
Yeah.
A couple of the users go, you know, soccer and Cedar Crest lacrosse, they go most of the year, so they're gonna be into it, I think, 2, if not 3 of the 3 cycles, so.
Yeah. And I know it's really important to everybody to be responsive, so we'll just be ready to receive any comments and potentially change things if need be.
Yeah, I mean, the ideal was not to over policy this issue. Really the impetus for it is that we're hoping with the new website launch that we can do some of this work online. But we needed the policy to be able to program that, work into that tool. I mean, also important to have a policy as we become more sophisticated and more people want to use field. But this is not an intent from the city or public works to try to over police or over policy this issue. More of, it'd be good to have a policy, and if it doesn't work, we'll change it.
Any other comments, questions, thoughts? All right, so we'll see this likely on consent next meeting on the 16th, I believe you said.
No, the second.
No, the second,
We can
okay.
turn on the second.
All right, well, that was our last item, so if there are no objections, we'll adjourn at 7:47. Even bigger. Okay, there's only one
We're
more
as
thing.
fast as that.
I told Steve that's what I
No,
metal spikes by them.
I think that's.
What?
um,
Metal spikes by them. I was like,